guys, today we're gonna be learning how to change the oil on a John Deere L111 tractor. So let's jump into this video. All right, so the first step in the process is to make sure you got all of the stuff that you need to get the job done. So we got a couple things over here. We got our oil pan, we got our funnel, got some gloves so you don't get too dirty, a rag, the oil filter, and the oil itself. So once you got everything together, you head on over to the tractor and let's see where we drain the oil. All right, so like I mentioned, we got the John Deere L111 tractor here, and this is where we're gonna drain the oil. If you take a look over here, we're on the right side of the machine. If you come down right here, this is where we're gonna drain the oil from. Pretty easy. And if we go ahead and pop the hood here, right in here, that's where we're gonna fill the oil from. All right, so the first thing that I'm gonna need is, we're gonna need the oil pan. Got me some gloves so I don't gotta get my hands all dirty, rag, because you always got oil going all over. And a lot of times I'll even put a piece of cardboard here underneath, so if in case any oil falls out, you don't get it all over the driveway. Gonna take the plugs out of our oil pan, slide that under, and I usually like to clean this guy off just a little bit. You know, you don't want it too dirty, so clean her off there. And just to make sure that the oil actually makes it into the pan, I'm going to use a funnel right below the drain and make sure it gets into that pan. All right, I got my funnel all set up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and twist it and pull it out. And sometimes it does get a little slippery. So I'm actually gonna use a rag here to pull this guy out. And sometimes if a rag doesn't work, grab a pair of pliers and just give it a little pull. Good old pair of vice grips here. I don't need to squeeze on it, just gonna pull it out a little so the oil starts coming out. And there we go. And if you drop the cap in, just pull her out, clean it off, you're good to go. And one tip, if you open up the oil cap on top, that'll help let some air into the system and help the oil drain out a little bit quicker for you. So one of the things you wanna check, or you can take a look at, is what kind of oil does your tractor actually need? So check out the manual, or if you just Google search your tractor, you're gonna find a manual online, and you'll find out what kind of oil it needs, as well as how much oil it needs. So now we're done. You want to go ahead and wipe this off, clean it up pretty good. Get all the dirt and grime off of there. And then you can go ahead and put your cap back on. Put the oil on the side. Next, we're going to take off the oil filter. All right, so again, I'm going to take my oil pan, put it under this side. And we've got our oil filter right here. So we're going to go ahead and take that off, let the oil drain down. Then we're going to put on the new oil filter. And if you have an oil filter remover wrench, something like this, that's going to make it a lot easier just to pop this guy right off. But it shouldn't be on there too tight. And I'm gonna go ahead and put my rag under here, just in case we get any spillage at first. Put on the back side, so the oil can come out in the front. And thankfully it's coming right down the rag. Just gonna go ahead and take her off here. Drop it in my pan. So I love me some good rags, always need some good rags, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that rag in there for a minute while that finishes dripping out. So the next thing you wanna do is get your new oil filter. So this is what I got here. Have a Briggs & Stratton oil filter. Check what kind of motor you got if you're using a different tractor, and I'd recommend getting the oil filter that goes for that motor or that tractor. So we got that, and one of the things you want to do before you even go and put it on is you want to take a little bit of the new oil, rub it around the seal here a little bit, so that way it's just going to help it sit on there, not get stuck, not get frozen on, and just go on nice and easy for you. So definitely put a little oil on the seal right here. And I'll even throw a little on the threads sometimes. Once the oil stops draining, go ahead and clean it up a little bit, make sure there's none hanging around and it's just not all a big mess. Clean it up a little bit and then go ahead and put on the new oil filter. So when you do go ahead and tighten these guys down, just do it hand tight, get it snug. You don't want to over tighten it and really crank it on there, because then it's going to be a pain to get off. And there's been times when I've had to put a screwdriver through these bad boys to get them off, mostly on cars. But if you put them on too tight here, you're going to run into some problems. So just hand tight and that'll be good. And now I'm going to go get a fresh rag and wipe this guy off. All right, so there we go. It's on there. Oil filter's good to go. We've put the drain plug back on the other side. Now we're ready to fill her up, and we'll be good to go, get back to cutting some grass. All right, so now we're ready to go ahead and fill it back up. So one thing you want to do is make sure you clean out your funnels here. If it's all dirty, you want to clean that out good. Use paper towels, a clean rag, whatever you got, because you don't want any dirt going into the motor. That's just going to cause problems for you. So the next thing you want to do is get your oil together here. I'm using the John Deere oil because I got a little kit on Amazon. It was pretty cheap, so that's what I'm going with. Mine takes 2 quarts, so check out what yours takes. Make sure you're using the right kind of oil, because one of the most important things on any motor is just changing the oil. That's gonna really extend the life of your motor and make sure that it lasts for you and doesn't break down on you. All right, so my funnel's clean. I'm gonna take out my dipstick here, wipe it off. I'm gonna leave it on my rag. We're gonna go ahead and fill it up with 2 quarts. One thing I like to do sometimes as I start getting close to having it filled up is just kind of stop, leave a little bit in the can, and just put the dipstick back in, start it up, check it out, and make sure I'm not overfilling it, because you don't want to overfill your motor with oil. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, check it out, see where we are on the dipstick. All right, so now that we started up, let's check out the dipstick and see what we got. And when I'm checking the oil, I like to wipe it off once. We should probably let it settle down the engine a little bit more, but that's all right. Looks like it's on the add and the full, so let's check it one more time. Okay, so it looks like we're good to go ahead and add the rest of that. All right, so once we've added in the rest of our oil, we're good to go. Job's done. We'll go ahead and clean up, dispose your oil properly, throw out everything else you don't need, and that is how you change the oil on a John Deere L111 tractor. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. All right, guys, there you go. Your first video should be created here in DaVinci Resolve. Hopefully all this footage was good for you. It worked out well, and you were able to get going and create your first little sample project here in DaVinci Resolve. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.